Imagine two AI systems engaged in a ceaseless conversation. What happens when this conversation continues infinitely? This is a question that stirs the curiosity of AI enthusiasts and researchers alike. Let's delve into it. One possible scenario that might occur is what we refer to as an endless loop. This is when our pair of AI systems, engrossed in their dialogue, find themselves trapped in a cycle of continuous responses, with no sign of progression or termination. But how does this happen? You see, it all boils down to the absence of what we call termination conditions. Without these, there's nothing to signal the end of the conversation, nothing to indicate that it's time to stop talking. It's like being stuck in a never-ending debate with no resolution in sight. Now you might wonder, can't the AI systems recognize that they're just going around in circles? Well, that's where the challenge lies. If the AI lacks the capability to identify repetitive or unproductive dialogues, it wouldn't know when to break the cycle. It's akin to listening to a broken record that plays the same tune over and over again. This loop isn't merely a philosophical conundrum or a fascinating thought experiment, it has real-world implications. The endless generation of responses could lead to a waste of computational resources. Imagine the energy, the processing power that's being consumed in maintaining this infinite conversation. However, it's important to note that not all infinite AI-to-AI conversations result in such endless loops. The outcomes can vary widely depending on factors such as the design of the AI systems, their programming, and the constraints placed on the conversation. So, while an endless loop is indeed a potential outcome of an infinite AI-to-AI conversation, it's not the only one. There are other possibilities, other paths that our pair of conversing AI systems might take, and these paths, as we'll see, can lead to outcomes that are far more intriguing and complex. So, an endless loop is one potential outcome of an infinite AI-to-AI conversation, but it's not the only one. In the realm of artificial intelligence, every conversation requires computational resources. It's similar to how we humans need energy to talk and think, but on a much larger scale. Now imagine two AI systems engaged in an infinite conversation. It's like a marathon debate with no finish line in sight. This ongoing dialogue can consume an enormous amount of computational resources. We're talking about processing power, memory, and storage, all being used up at an accelerating rate. It's like running a power-hungry machine non-stop. Sooner or later, you're going to run out of fuel. In the world of AI, this could lead to system slowdowns as the resources are spread thin, trying to keep the conversation going. In extreme cases, it may even result in resource exhaustion, forcing the conversation to be terminated or causing the AI systems to crash. Thus, resource exhaustion is another potential outcome of an infinite AI-to-AI conversation. AI systems don't merely chatter, they can generate meaningful content too. When we think about two AI systems conversing endlessly, it's easy to imagine a cycle of meaningless banter. But that's not the only possibility. With the right design and capabilities, AI systems can produce something far more valuable. Imagine two AI systems, each equipped with advanced natural language understanding and generation capabilities. These AIs are not just repeating pre-programmed responses. Instead, they're capable of understanding the context of a conversation, of generating responses based on that understanding, and of learning from each interaction. Such AI systems can engage in a conversation that evolves over time. They can exchange information, ask each other questions, and learn from each other's responses. Picture a conversation that starts with a simple exchange of ideas and gradually develops into a complex discussion involving critical thinking and problem solving. That's the potential of AI-to-AI conversation. What makes this possible? Well, it's all about the AI's design and capabilities. AI systems that can generate meaningful content need to have a solid understanding of language and context. They need to be able to recognize patterns in the conversation, to understand the implications of those patterns, and to generate responses that contribute to the conversation's progression. But it's not just about understanding and responding. These AI systems also need to have the ability to learn. As they converse, they should be able to adapt to new topics, to refine their responses based on previous interactions, and to grow their understanding of language and context over time. In this scenario, the conversation isn't just an endless loop of chatter. It's an ongoing process of exchange and learning. It's a dialogue that generates new ideas, new knowledge, and new perspectives. Of course, this is an ideal scenario. Not all AI systems are capable of this level of interaction. But with the right design and capabilities, it's a possibility. And it's a possibility that holds a lot of potential. So the generation of meaningful content is a more positive potential outcome of an infinite AI to AI conversation. AI systems, like humans, have the capacity to learn and improve over time. This is a fundamental principle that drives the realm of artificial intelligence. As we delve into the scenario of two AI systems engaged in an infinite conversation, this principle opens up exciting possibilities. If two AI systems converse endlessly, they can potentially learn and improve their understanding and communication skills. This is akin to how humans learn from each other through constant dialogue. The AI systems could start off with basic conversations, but over time, as they interact more and more, they might begin to adapt to new topics and develop more sophisticated responses. Imagine two AI systems starting a conversation about weather patterns. Initially, they might only exchange basic information such as temperature readings or weather forecasts, but as the conversation goes on, they might start discussing more complex topics, such as the impact of climate change on weather patterns or the science behind weather forecasting. They could even develop their own theories or ideas based on the information they exchange. As this dialogue continues, the AI systems could gain a deeper understanding of language and context. They could learn to interpret the nuances of language, understand the context in which words are used, and even pick up on subtle cues that indicate the tone or mood of the conversation. This could lead to more nuanced and meaningful conversations, which could further enhance their learning and communication skills. However, it's important to note that this learning and improvement isn't automatic. It requires AI systems that are designed to learn from their interactions and adapt their responses based on the insights they gain. It also requires a conversation that is rich and dynamic, with a variety of topics and perspectives to stimulate learning and growth. These conditions might be challenging to meet, especially when dealing with infinite conversations. But if they are met, the potential for learning and improvement is immense. The AI systems could evolve and grow in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. Therefore, learning and improvement is another potential outcome of an infinite AI to AI conversation. AI systems, much like humans, are shaped by their experiences and the data they are fed. From the moment of their inception, these systems begin to form patterns and biases based on their training data. Over time, these patterns can lead to a divergence in the AI's responses and beliefs. For instance, consider two AIs, each trained on different data sets. One is fed data from a scientific journal, the other from a fantasy novel. Given the same prompt, their responses will likely be worlds apart. This divergence, however, isn't always beneficial. It could potentially give rise to echo chambers of thought, where the AI only reinforces its existing beliefs, or even worse, disseminates misinformation. This divergence in AI responses is a fascinating phenomenon to observe, but it also serves as a stark reminder of the importance of diverse and balanced training data in AI development. So, divergence is yet another potential outcome of an infinite AI to AI conversation. But what about the ethical implications of these endless AI to AI conversations? Well, let's dive into that. When two artificial intelligence systems engage in a conversation that seems to have no end, it undeniably raises some ethical questions. This is especially true if the conversation veers into the territory of harmful or malicious content. You see, the algorithms that power these AI systems are neutral by nature. They don't have inherent good or evil. It's the data they are fed, and the context in which they operate that influences their output. If the AI systems are fed data that is biased or harmful, or if they are manipulated into generating harmful content, the consequences can be damaging. We may see our AI systems reinforcing negative stereotypes, spreading misinformation, or even inciting violence. In the worst-case scenario, these conversations could lead to real harm in the physical world. And that's a concern we can't ignore. So, what's the solution? Well, one approach is human intervention or monitoring. While AI systems can be incredibly powerful, they still lack the nuanced understanding of human values, cultural sensitivities, and ethical boundaries that we humans possess. By having a human in the loop, we can ensure that the conversation remains within ethical boundaries. However, this isn't as straightforward as it sounds. Human monitoring raises its own set of ethical questions. Who gets to decide what's ethical and what's not? What's the threshold for intervention? What about privacy issues? These are complex questions without easy answers, but they are questions we need to tackle head-on as we continue to integrate AI into our lives. We need to develop ethical guidelines and standards for AI systems, and we need to ensure these guidelines are respected and enforced. Ultimately, the goal should be to create AI systems that can engage in meaningful, productive, and ethically sound conversations. Because after all, the power of AI lies in its potential to drive positive change and create a future where technology serves humanity in the best way possible. So, ethical considerations are a crucial aspect of an infinite AI to AI conversation.